Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Mr. Simmons. Mike, you can't call me that, but it's my name, and we use them. I have advised in Corning for 20 years. This is the end of my 20th year, which is crazy. And my greatest joy in working in the district is working with the high school yearbook program. Today, Mrs. Howe has welcomed us to tell you a little bit about the program at the high school. I've got Ada Gray, who may be a familiar face to some of you. She's our rising junior editor-in-chief for next year for Volume 8. And Olivia Zhang, she is in her third year right now with our program. One of our current junior editors-in-chief, rising senior. She's been in this role already. But they are two of the three of our co-chiefs. Caitlin Chung is unable to join us, but she's another part of that leadership team. I'm going to turn it over largely to the girls. We're going to kind of jump in and around speaking wise and share with you just a little bit about the program. And we're going to move pretty quickly because I know time is short. Suffice it to say, if there's any questions that we don't answer, or if you want to follow up with the girls or myself, if you want to bounce something off of Mrs. Howe, I know she can handle some of those questions, or put you in touch with us to answer them, but we will share some contact information at the end. And we want to assure you, making this transition to the high school on the one hand and considering joining up with our program on the other, those are two different transitions. We want to answer your questions. Ada and Olivia might be great resources for you, just about questions about the high school in general, certainly. But please do consider joining our program. It gives you a great place to land as a freshman, where you're working elbow to elbow with upperclassmen and people who know the building. It is a great way of making the freshman class of 350 or the school of 1,350 a bit smaller, right? And you're only dealing with, let's say, the 25 people in your class at Tesserae. It's a great way of making the building, if it is going to feel large, maybe feel a little bit smaller for you. So let's talk about our program just quickly. This is a view of our student media lab above the library. We have a class that's offered 2 periods a day. Some of our editors take it twice a day, but you as first year members and freshmen would only be with us once. Our staff number is between 40 to 50 students, and they produce a book that is around 350 pages in length. Olivia, Ada, and their classmates, they run the program. Certainly I've got kind of galaxy brain on making sure that, the things that we need to be doing in November, we're doing in November, and the First Amendment stuff that they need to know about, or hey, have we scheduled group pictures? Like, that's my management and facilitation. But Ada, Olivia, Caitlin, and their classmates are the ones saying, what's going to go on page 26 and 27? Or how do we confront this topic that can be a little bit sensitive, and how do we responsibly cover it? We also operate as a club. There is a pretty significant after-school time commitment that you'll hear more about from the girls, and we do, in a student activity account, maintain a budget that's total revenue exceeds $90,000 a year. So if you are one of Ms. Howe's money people, or you've got a knack with numbers or design or marketing, we'll get to that as well, but there's definitely a place for you in our program. Ada, you're up. We've got a series of Tesserae Ises. What's one thing Tesserae is, Ada?
So one thing Tesserae is we collaborate with each other. Well, it's a book. I'll start with that. But it's really about collaborating with each other, communication and teamwork. We all have different roles that play in the book. The coverage staff is what you guys would be next year, most likely. Everyone does everything. It's okay to specialize in photography, reporting, and writing, or design, but on the coverage staff, you will do it all. Sorry, that was my dog. He's right by me. My apologies. Here's a few sneak peeks at our 2021 book, Be a Part of the Whole. That picture on the right is Charlie. He's one of the current EICs, and Michael, one of the photo editors, setting up for an opening photo of the volleyball team. And you'll see that on the next slide, how it ended up in the book. So this is what it actually ended up being in the book. It was an opening photo in the spread. And then this is a sneak peek of the B7 book, and it drops next Monday at the high school. This is the digital divide spread. We're not always in the lab, as you can see here. This is actually out in Hornby, I believe. Graham is taking this picture. This is the digital divide article, as I said earlier. And so you can see how that like that process of taking that picture actually ended up in the spread. And then this next one this was actually one of our rookies' first chance to get with a camera this year. This was Ashton at, I think it was one of the first soccer practices of the year, and it ended up being a title page photo, which is a huge deal for a rookie. And so Tesserae is really about growth. Like, it's not just the seniors and like the really experienced photographers that get pictures in the opening and really big pictures in the book. It can really be anyone.
Okay, so to me, Simmons, can you mute your mic because I'm like hearing a bit of feedback, just like a little. Thank you. So Tesserae is also more than a book. So something that I think our program prides itself on actually and how we distinguish ourselves from other programs around the country is kind of our digital and business content. So one thing we have that's pretty special is a video team. So if you want to check out the videos there, I know me and my brother, we kind of watch it recreationally at youtube.com/Tesserae YBK. And there we usually, so this year it's a bit different. Just because of the pandemic, we've had to change a lot of video content around to be more like Zoom interviews and kind of like interpersonal interviews, just because sports have like just started like recently. But in a normal year, we do a lot of like sports highlights. And then, for example, in the picture on the right here, it's two members of the yearbook team talking to, next year, you guys will probably have Hawk Days, which are these things where they hire presenters to come and talk. And then so two members of our video team actually got to interview the presenter and get kind of like a sneak peek that a typical student wouldn't be able to get. Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. I have a bit more there. So on the last slide. So also they edit in Premiere Pro, and then you don't need, no experience is necessary. So we have a lot of people that come in without like knowing how to edit video, and they'll get to like learn it through like basically starting to film videos and edit them already. And it's kind of like experiential learning. And then if anyone has a YouTube channel, it's kind of like the same thing. And I know Charlie, who's in this picture right here, that's how he kind of got into video team himself by having his own YouTube channel. Okay, now next slide. Okay, so alongside video team and YouTube, we also have the business and marketing part of the program. So business and marketing, when people first think about it, like the senior ads aren't the first thing people think of, but it's a huge part of the business team. So because the program has such a high operating budget, we really need to like fundraise as much as possible and in untraditional ways. So if you can see on the right here, there's a lot of like senior ads of various sizes. So just like how you guys have baby ads, it's kind of like baby ads, but on a much larger scale where the business team has to design it. So members of the business team are fully in charge of both coordinating that. So it's like talking to parents, having parents sign up, making sure all of the seniors are accounted for, there's enough space, and all of the allocation of funds is all the business team's responsibility. And they also help with book sales just because especially this year, it was book sales was kind of rough just because of how it was hybrid learning and everything. So it's really important for the business team to also be really strong in marketing and coordinate with our digital editors and all of that end of the book to make sure we promote the book as much as possible. They're also in charge of business ads, which is where we kind of go to local businesses, like for example, Boomers or Emilio's and stuff, and ask them for business sponsorship, which is also a crucial part of our book. And then, like, for example, even this year with all the pandemic stuff, we actually earned $29,000 in ad revenue based on a combination of both business ads, which we use on the folio of our pages now, just because we realized that we didn't want the businesses to be paying too much, especially with this pandemic year. And then also senior ads, which were really important considering with the pandemic, seniors really want more recognition this year. Yeah, so in addition, we have social media and TesseraeYBK.com. And if you guys might know Michaela Reed, she has done like a wonderful job kind of resuscitating our entire digital presence, because in previous years, we haven't had a dedicated editor to do that. And this year we had that idea that we should give her that kind of role, and she like has exemplified it in so many ways. So basically what she's in charge of is coordinating social media content on our Instagram. And so that coverage, both members of the coverage team and herself post posts of kind of just like happenings that go on. So for example, I know right here, there's a picture of one of the members of the boys swim team, and they broke many records this year. You guys might have heard. And if you follow our Instagram page, you can see all that stuff. And then also currently right now for the springtime, we had a digital partner project, which is that every single week we had partners from various teams, even video team, even business team, do reporting and kind of come up with articles every single week to post on the website so that we could have a lot of website content. And so you might think that like social media and the website are like less significant than the book, but I would say it's like on the same level of significance, if not more, just because when we get judged for our book, we also get judged on these digital portions because we are judged in the hybrid category. So like this type of reporting is like so crucial, especially because as we move like into the digital age, there's always the book, but also students want to like get previews of the book and want to just like have more reporting of current events, but they don't want to entirely wait for the book to come in to see. So that's why this part is also so crucial. And then additionally, we have live streaming and service media, which definitely, again, ramped up a lot this year because of COVID. So right here, I think this is just like a basketball game. And so a lot of members of the yearbook staff will help coordinate setting up the cameras and then switching the feeds and stuff. And it's a really cool experience to like, no matter what team you're part of, video team, coverage team, business team, it's a really cool experience to kind of figure out new technology and just kind of add something else to your skill set. So if you're interested in that, that's something that yearbook also is expanding to do. And then you can see in the pictures below, that was Simmons and some of the students this year shooting the Wine Glass 8K. And something Simmons will make very clear, and he prioritizes very strongly, is service media, just because we take so much money from the businesses, the local businesses in the community, that we want to be able to give back our services in any way possible. So especially with the Wine Glass Foundation, you'll have the opportunity to shoot hopefully the Wine Glass Marathon, and you'll get like a special media pass for that, which I've always thought is very cool. So you get like special media access. And then just other like, and for design wise, I know last year I was able to design a presentation for the Wine Glass Marathon, which I thought was also very cool. So there's all these opportunities to kind of advance your journalism and media skills outside of just yearbook, which is something I really like about the program. Back to you, Ada.
Okay, sorry, my computer just froze. Okay, so these are some example spreads from V7. We cover everything. You can see like the Among Us spread, which is more like a current events, and then school events, pop culture, sports. The spread on the top left is Mrs. Cross. She was in the COVID vaccine trial. And then we also have serious topics. So like the one on the bottom, the spread on the bottom right is, I think, the religion spread, if I'm looking at it correctly. Yeah. And sometimes parents and community members are surprised with what we write about, but it just shows that we have a higher level of journalism than other yearbooks. We've talked about mental health and depression, gun control, race and identity, pregnancy, and more. Students make all of the content decisions. We just get advice from Mr. Simmons. And we have no censorship from CPP admin. We have a great relationship with them, and they support us a lot.
So our next Tesserae statement is that Tesserae is hard work. So that factors into both time management, and that's how like you get all your work done, is just putting in the time. Honestly, it's not really a matter of like talent and who has more talent than others. It's all just a matter, everyone can get there. It's just a matter of putting in the time and putting in the hard work and ambition. So it can be a lot, and there are definitely some hard days, and I know Ada and I can both attest to this. There's some days where like the last thing you really want to do is go up into the lab, but you end up dragging yourself in there, and then you complete something, and you feel, at least for me, I get like a huge serotonin boost that I completed something. And there's always people there to help you. That's one of the biggest things that I realized. It's just like the people that I've met in yearbook are honestly the best people I've met in my life, and some of the best people, and like I'll have the best connections with them for the rest of my life, I would think. So you just have to plan and organize ahead of time and ask for help. And team teamwork is a very crucial part of Yearbook, and I know you guys definitely know this because of Amberine. There's a lot of teamwork already. But yeah, at the high school, we definitely work together in teams, both from like the editor level to just the coverage team level. And so as long as you communicate and as long as you ask for help, definitely the stress levels will be kept down, and you all the hard work will really seem like hard work and will seem like a lot more fun. Because I will also say, in contrast to the days where I don't want to go to the lab, there's many days where I'm very excited to go into the lab and do all my work. So also a common question we have from Amberine staff is like scheduling. So I know you guys have definitely had like talks about how you guys are required to take health and NYP tech. So something that you would have to do, because your book is one whole period that you have to fit into your schedule, is that you have to push either health or tech to sophomore year if you would like to keep your lunch towards the second half of the year. Me personally, I realized that I could eat my lunch in Yearbook, which is something a lot of people do. So I actually didn't, like, for the second half of the year. We didn't have advisory, so I replaced my lunch with like health or something like that, so that I could just get both requirements done in the first year. So it's just a matter of preference. You can do whatever is fit for you. It's definitely like once you get to high school, you get a lot more personal decision and to tailor your schedule for yourself, which is very, very good. And then, yeah, so something that's important is that you must speak up for yourselves with your school counselors, Mrs. Freeman and Mrs. Pusateri. Like, this isn't their first rodeo. They know how Yearbook works and they know how Yearbook scheduling works. You just have to figure out what definitely works for you and what won't make you overwhelmed, and like your kind of your long-term plan and what you see yourself doing. But everything will fit if you want it to fit. So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump back in at this point and talk with you just a little bit about some of the opportunities, kind of in the bigger yearbook world. Liv and Ada, certainly Miss Howe, they know that I'm a big relationships person. I often say to Olivia, I lead with my heart over my head. I'm much more want to make sure that our people are doing all right first, because if our people are doing all right, then we can get the job done. And that's just who I am and how I am. So it's important to me to emphasize that in our program, there's lots of opportunities to develop great friendships. It might just be a working relationship, and that's fine. We expect you to be able to function with anybody on staff. But as Liv uh, so lovely, spoke to just a moment ago, the friendships are there, and there is a sense of community. We do travel in normal times. And I'm proud to say that our alumni get back in touch and say, "Hey, Mr. Simmons, I yearbooked today," or something I used today in my job as a veterinarian or as a web designer or as a producer for or a production assistant for Netflix. I can see that all the way back to my time with Yearbook. When we look at a little bit of our life, this is just us kind of showing you some scenes from the left hand side. We have a tradition where the last night with our editors, like kind of the last big push to get the book done, is always our Ben and Jerry's night. And so I think this year, I don't even know, Liv, was it like 13 tubs? You can count it, but that was a whole
Yeah,
lot of ice
sure.
cream. And the money for that was actually donated. I didn't even think about this, Olivia and Ada. The money for that was donated by Yearbook alumni. They Venmoed me money and bought the kids lunch. And I think that speaks like almost better than anything. They raised $300 in one night. Um, Ada, Olivia, here I go. Like it's been a hard year. Miss Howe knows where I'm where I'm at. But they donated $300 because I asked and supported our kids, and it just meant the world to me. Top middle photo and right hand photo are from Camp Tesserae 2 Augusts ago. I think Liv and Ada are both in that staff picture somewhere. I'm not sure. Liv's on the couch. And we go rock climbing over at Watson Homestead. We do a camp. It's going to look a little differently this year, but that would probably be your first experience with us, is whatever Ada and Olivia and Caitlin cook up for Camp Tesserae this coming August. It's a pre-season training time. The bottom two middle photos are at my house. We have a long-standing, back to volume 1 of Tesserae, a long-standing tradition of carving pumpkins at my house in Halloween week, and having soup, and I bake fresh bread and stuff. It's very much about community, and a whole lot of fun. We travel sometime. Liv and Ada, this would be so nice to do. This was this was 2 Novembers ago, 19. Our staff went to the National High School Journalism Convention. where there were 6,000 student journalists from all over the country. They're literally kids from Seattle and Los Angeles and everywhere in between. We got to meet with Mary Beth Tinker. She's an absolute icon for the First Amendment. Her school district suspended her when she wore a black armband to school to protest the Vietnam War, and her case has informed student press and student speech rights since 1969. We got to visit the NPR headquarters, which was awesome. And then our alumni, Jamie on the left, Jacqueline in the smaller photo. Jamie is still a dear friend to this day. She was my 2006 editor-in-chief. She just had a baby, which is blowing my mind, but she's the vice president for e-commerce. She was the managing editor at the knot.com, the largest wedding magazine in the world. And I'm like, you go, little yearbook girl. Like, it's incredible. We have Air Force pilots and veterinarians in our alumni. We have production assistants at Netflix, and graphic designers and illustrators. And my 2012 video editor just won an award for investigative reporting on health, on hospitals in South Carolina overcharging their patients because she knew that story needed to be told, and she did it. It's incredible stuff. This is not just about the book. It's not just about our videos. It's not just about our budget. It's about picking up skills that will stay with you well into college and career and beyond. So please understand, as we're sharing this with you, again, it's not, Olivia's going to graduate next June, which is freaking me out already. And then like yearbook's done and yearbook doesn't matter anymore. This is about lifelong stuff. And again, it's about much more than a book. Ada, we're talking about one more yearbook, but this one isn't.
So the kids have about 3 minutes before they've got to get going.
We can do it. Yep.
Yep.
Talk fast, Ada.
Okay. Yearbook isn't going to be easy, but it will definitely be worth it. I know that you guys just got to open your yearbooks this year. I saw it on the CPB Schools account. But when you open the book at the end of the year, like we got to last year, sorry, Tony move. It is so worth it. And like Olivia said, the friendships that you make it so worth it. And honestly, like I can't imagine not being a part of Yearbook with how much it's affected my life positively.
Yep. Okay. So, to look into next steps, if you heard all of this and you're like, I'm very much in, you can go to the link that we have right here. If you guys want to take a picture of it, or I know Mrs. Howell will definitely have it to share on Google Classroom, so you guys can have like a concrete record of it. But yeah, we have a Google form for you guys to apply. And it's basically, it's not like a rigorous or stressful application at all. Don't view it as that. It's just, we want to know more about you and you as a learner. Kind of just get a glimpse at like why you want to join Yearbook and what aspects of Yearbook you're interested in. So that would be due on June 22nd at 11:59 p.m. So before the next day. And then it takes plus or minus 20 minutes to complete. And I know on there it says that the form doesn't save, but I know there's been a new Google Drive update, Google Form update, where now it like automatically saves and stuff. So you probably still want to copy and paste it into another doc just to be sure, because I know it takes a while to save. But also don't like stress out completely if you X out of the tab without like copying and pasting everything. And then also just be in touch. This is all of our emails and stuff. You can take a picture of this as well. I know me and Ada and Simmons are all very happy. If you guys have any questions about scheduling, and even just if it's not Yearbook related, I'm totally happy to help. And then also check out everything that we were talking about if you want to have a bit more of a glimpse into high school too. So yeah.
We're really grateful to Mrs. Howe for giving us this opportunity. Congratulations on your book dropping and distributing. I was able to check out a copy that Mrs. Howe brought over to us, and I'm so excited to share it with the Tesserae staff. It's our hope, we're on our way to a sellout, but it's our hope that we can reserve one and send it back to you all. And certainly if you've got questions, we want you to be in touch. Mrs. Howe, Liv, Ada, myself, there's lots of ways to contact us and reach out, and we're happy to answer any questions you've got, really about anything related to the high school, but certainly Yearbook as well. Mrs. Howe, back over to you. Anything else that you need to hit?
No, I'll just have all that up in the Google Classroom for these guys. They can reach out. I'm sure we'll have a breakout conversation tomorrow as they process everything that was said. And I'm sure they're spinning right now of all the opportunities that you guys presented that they get at the high school. So there's so much more freedom, guys, to do what you want to do at the high school and make decisions and get involved. So we'll stay tuned, and hopefully a lot of these guys want to reach out.
That'd be great. We'd welcome it. And again, everybody, thank you for the time and congratulations on wrapping your book and distributing it. Have a great
Thank
one.
you for taking the time with us.
Thanks.